Hi, I'm Akira.
I'm Rohan Naha.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the new Rani Mukerji movie. It's called Mardaani 3. Is this like the only thing she does now? I have no idea. She's back as the character she plays, Shivani, Shivaji Roy, chasing a bunch of criminals and like solving crimes or whatever. Yeah, it's the only one I've seen. I've not seen the first two, so please take that into account. Yeah, what do you make of the movie, Rohan?
I did the crazy thing and I watched the first two yesterday before watching this one.
How are you feeling about your Mardaani binge then?
It's an interesting experiment because you can kind of trace like the evolution of mainstream Bollywood over the last decade by watching just the Mardaani movies.
They're like, we went from innocent phase to like full on, like gung ho, like kill everyone.
Yeah. So the first one is relatively like scrappy Mumbai set cop movie. Not to say that it's good, but it's a very different film from what the third one is. And you can tell that it came in like post Anurag Kashyap phase. So like there was like a sort of realness to the gangsters and the criminal underbelly and all that stuff in Mumbai. The second one you can tell is it comes, in that Ayushmann Khurrana decade of let's go to a small town and do like Anubhav Sinha sort of social impact movie. So it's like set in Kota, Rajasthan for some reason,
Yeah,
and there's like a lot
mention here, no? Like there's like a throwaway line in the third one.
Yeah, and the third one, obviously, like we've seen it, and it's like, South movies are big, so let's just shoot everything in YRF and make it like Jawan, but 1/5 of the budget.
Yeah, like even I can almost feel like a Fast and the Furious type evolution as well. Like that was my analogy essentially. It's like it started as like a movie about like cars, right? And then 4 movies later they were saving the world. And this is trending on the same level because you explained to me, like I had just read the synopsis and stuff. I could tell, I was like, okay, this is initially, as you just described, it's movies about like a cop solving a crime. So local, then like Thara Bada, and then like 2 Bada. Like now she's going to like Colombo and solving crime while she's suspended. And I'm like, you are about to cause like a diplomatic crisis that cannot be solved at your level.
And this picture ka second half is fully insane. Like I never expected it to go in that direction. It's like full sci-fi almost now.
Which is what exactly the Fast and Furious is my best analogy for this, because they're like after a point they just like stop caring. They're like, okay, forget what we were. This is what we are now, and just live with the reality. So I can imagine like if they go on by Mardaani 6, she will be stopping nuclear bombs.
There is no like besides the main character and the stay-at-home, whatever, not stay-at-home husband, but a very thankless role for Jishu Gupta, who shows up. It's the same in every movie, by the way. There is no like stylistic overlap between any of these 3 films. Like it obviously feels like 3 different people made it.
Yeah, which is again true of like Fast and Furious as well. So right on track. Exactly.
And like the only consistent thing I feel is that the movie wants to ek to performative jo feminism ho raha hai, we'll discuss later, but the movie really wants to create like these larger than life villains, and it has consistently failed at that across 3 films. Like the second one came close to making an interesting character. Vishal Jethwa played the villain in that one. But he would like break the 4th wall. It was like completely strange kind of portrayal of the character. There was no motivation at all. At least is wale mein thoda like 5% motivation to hai villain.
Yeah. Motivation essentially, like he's like a Bond villain, right? He's just like has this grand plan to like use young girls to create like a vaccine or something, whatever. I don't know what he's doing, which will make him a lot of money. And the movie ka like even visual language evolves, or like not evolves, I would say just like flips overnight from like seedy underbelly of like Delhi streets we're doing, and suddenly it's like super bright lit like glass and steel Colombo, and I'm like, bhai kuch to commonality rakho yaar. It feels like I'm in a different movie right now.
Yeah. Second half completely turns into something else.
Not even second half. I think it happens like late into the second half. So by then I feel like this is like the movie ka established language for 90 minutes, and suddenly for the last act you have like switched to a different location and forgotten what your movie was.
Yeah, it's a thing, right? Because the first one, the action also was very like scrappy. Like she's running around like very recognizable Mumbai landmarks and like slapping people, which is very like typical of Indian cops, like open is it and by this one it's like fully she's doing like ballet pirouettes and like
which
slow
like
motion.
Again, like I was very annoyed by, because when the movie opens, right, they want to do this like grand like reveal for the character, like she is under a mask and stuff, and that character is obviously like a body double, like a stunt double who actually genuinely has a physicality, so they can actually do the stuff you just described, right? They can do these pirouettes and very nicely and execute them. The moment the mask comes off, it's Rani Mukerji now, and she cannot move to save her life. So now she's
She
like
cannot move.
moving 2 inches, like Salman and Khan from like Tiger 3 or something, and like slapping people. I'm like, bhai, these are two different people. I can tell.
Yeah, and it's the same with the like the acting, right? Because it's very obvious that she's not doing more than 1 or 2 takes. So जो मिल गया वो मिल गया तो वही तुम्हारी अब picture है कि अब
Yeah.
now
Plus,
deal
I
with
don't
it,
know
you
who
know.
to lay the blame at for like the other aspects of her acting, which is like the very shouty nature of it. Like, is it coming from Rani or is it like the director's like, nahi, ye acha nahi tha, or loudly bolo?
I think it's coming from Rani, you know, like even in the previous two movies, it would be like depending on the mood, right? Like some very intense scenes are underplayed and some very random like phone call पे बात कर रही है वो चिल्ला के बात कर रही है.
Yeah,
तो
and she just breaks. Like her voice is not able to contain it. Her facial expressions are not able to match it, and it just feels like like a person who's like learning acting right now in college or high school. Like, and director ने बोला नहीं भाई थोड़ा like keep it down.
And it's like defaulting to like the obvious tricks, right? Like the dialogue bazi and all of that is delivered in a very standard, uninteresting way. Like there's no
Like there is a good way to do dialogue bazi, right? Like to go back to your mention 5 minutes ago of Anurag Kashyap, like he also does dialogue bazi, but uske actors are able to deliver, or he's able to coach them in a way that they can deliver it. And it's interesting. You want to follow what they're saying. You are interested in how they're delivering it. This is like a monotone 85 decibel like delivery.
Yeah, it's not very interesting. I think that comes from like the flawed understanding of who the character is. Like the movie isn't really like Shivaji Roy is a very like two-dimensional person, right? They try to give her like a domestic life, but then in the domestic scenes there is no like variation. Like there is this one like, oh yeah, she cares deeply about her family, but duty calls and
Yeah, which
everything
is like
which we've
token
seen.
stuff, right? Like for literally, I saw that as like at least the only good thing for me was at least it's flipping the traditional thing, right? We're used to seeing just like men in that role and then women in the other role. And
But
even
it's not doing the interesting thing about it कि मतलब रानी मुखर्जी को घर जाके she has to do like खाना पकाना पड़ता है and all that like Sony did, right? So having
so
like
obviously because we have been able to like break past that class ceiling, so which I'm accepting, I can live with that. But it's again like at the level of Fast and Furious where Vin Diesel is like doing that wooden scenes with like Michelle Rodriguez and cannot actually push, like he has no emotions to actually convey. He just says the word family and you're supposed to believe him.
And similarly, like I just watched the second season of Korra and Patal Lok, and Korra is very similar in the sense that there is a female character who is fairly high up in the scheme of things, and she's dealing with like the patriarchal kind of setup around her, and just like the detail with which that character is written and performed, it's very different, right? And it doesn't matter how high you kind of climb professionally, you still are at the end of the day a woman, right? Which is an interesting. It would fit into the themes of the film, but the film isn't interesting. Like Shivaji Roy, her biggest kind of pushback she gets is sort of from the people around her.
Yeah, it's all professional.
It's not as intense as you might imagine. So you are almost led to believe that नहीं तो इसके लिए ठीक है. और जो movie का central message है, the very wonky I haven't been able to wrap my head around after watching 3 of these, is that it's not that the movie wants like equality across the board for women and men. The movie wants women to behave like men, which includes like the negative traits of men. So it feels that if women emulate that, it's fine in a way, right? So like the morality of all 3 films, including this one, is very like questionable for me because there is a sense of badle ka bhavna and very vindictive, which I'm not sure is a great thing to emulate if you're trying to be like, oh, we have to show Mardaani,
Yeah, but I think like that's where they're sort of lost, right? Yeah. It comes from essentially the franchise's title, and their interpretation of it is not what you would ideally want.
Yeah. So which is why like now when you think of, I didn't know this because I hadn't watched these movies, but now when you think of that viral sort of moment where Rani Mukerji is like औरतों को like self defense सिखाना चाहिए because and people were like, no, teach your like boys to not be weird.
Yeah, I think it's just like accepting that things are a certain way and वो नहीं बदलने वाला है, so we must adapt to it.
And I mean that's a good faith argument. I wouldn't go so far as to do that because you know how these people are, right? Like they don't really actually care about these issues.
Yeah.
Because if they did, like what is the biggest complaint that we have for true crime these days? True crime, fiction, non-fiction, is that they focus on the killer. What about the victim? What about the survivors? none of these movies really care about, including this one, they don't really care about the women that are being, they're just like pawns, right?
Yeah, like they want to Jim Lee's character and even her father, who is shown briefly, they're essentially objects to be used to further the narrative. Ki like in pe pity karo, so then you can root for the character who's saving them.
Yeah, they don't really, and there is an interesting idea there, which was the same idea was in the terrible Vikrant Massey movie that we watched, right? Which was that the rich people get preference. Now that's an interesting idea. Does the movie go as deep into it as I would have liked? No, but is it enough? Perhaps. It's an interesting idea that you float there and you kind of circle back to it. So it's not like you're just throwing it in there and then forgetting all about it. No, it's something that she towards the end brings up again. So I feel that the character actually feels for this.
And the other interesting thing for me was that the Bond villain actually making like a good solid point. And in his headquarters, he's like, yeah, like you try to save these girls. For what? They will go back to their forgotten childhoods or abusive childhood. And like literally, she does not have a response. So she just like turns the subject around. And I'm like, this is crazy. You essentially conceded a moral point.
No, she has a response. She's like, हमारे पुलिस में ऐसे बोला जाता है कि innocent को कभी नहीं punish करना चाहिए.
हाँ, but that's the distraction of an answer, right? That's not an actual answer. The actual answer, she doesn't have an answer to the fact that they will end up in a place where she does not have control over the trajectory of their lives.
No, but she says that who gave you the right to decide.
Fair, which is fine. Like who played you played God. I'm saying it's not a direct response to the question. It is a distraction from because there is no direct possible response. He is raising a point which is very valid in today's India of class and caste.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because even that Vikrant Massey character does the same thing, right? In that movie, the Nithari, he says that I am the same. Like that's a sort of flawed thing because he's not really exploiting them for the benefit of anybody else.
Plus, he's like mentally ill, right? From what I remember.
So mentally ill, to ye bhi hai, but different kind of mentally ill.
He mentally ill, like he's just like a Elon Musk level type, like greedy capitalist.
No man, he's killing children. He's pretty mentally ill.
I see it in the point of like he just does not see them as human beings,
which is mentally ill, right?
Can be argued, sure, yeah.
Like that is a full sociopathic tendency, right? Like to not like see human beings as you and children, and you're using them and killing them and being like and justifying it
for like essentially profit.
Yeah, for profit. You don't really, it's full psycho, but different kind of psycho. I would argue that this psycho is it seems less psychotic because he's educated and rich and sort of well put together. Whereas the Vikrant Massey character, equally psychotic. He was an unhinged poor man. So we tend to kind of point fingers at him more than the kind of criminals, white collar criminals and
this is more methodic and planned than the other guy, right?
I would argue both are equally insane, which I think the movie knows also. But it's just that it took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting it. It's fine though. It wasn't like, if anything, it raised a couple of interesting arguments, as you mentioned.
The issue eventually is that it's all like cold water thrown over it because it's just like the scene by scene writing and direction and the acting that we've spoken about is so subpar that it just like brings everything down. I was like, the same script or the same at least idea, not of the script, but same at least idea, story, if I'm giving to a stronger director and writer, they can do so much more with this than what you are pulling off here.
Yeah, which is a fairly typical thing of Bollywood, right? First draft ko shoot kar denge. Or at least it feels like a first draft, like because they might have gone through multiple drafts, but it feels like, if you just spent like a month or 2 more months or longer on just refining it.
No, I think that's what I'm getting at is I don't think like they probably did multiple drafts, but this is the best they're capable of. They feel this is the best they can do, so there's no point of spending more months.
That's very sad, because what I would just do is like start. I don't know अगर यहाँ पे होता है, but like the concept of like script polishing.
Yeah, this needs to be taken to like a workshop in a film festival.
Or this needs to be just given to Sudeep Sharma, ke sir, please.
Yeah, or that, right? Like just like acknowledge that aapke bas ke bahar hai. Give it to someone who's actually get a mentor. You don't have to even rewrite it. You just have to give you pointers on where you are lacking and how to flesh out things.
Yeah. And you have the money, so pay the.
Yeah, obviously you have the money. You
get the proven talent, because I don't know if this filmmaker has made anything before. I
went through it. He's made some movie in 2018 called Love Yatri.
Oh my god, I know that movie. That movie is a launch vehicle for Salman Khan's brother-in-law.
Okay. Yeah.
It's supposedly like a romantic movie. I don't know how it came to be.
I think it's just like a director for hire thing, right? They're like, कौन बना रहा है, किसको मन है Mardaani 3 करने का, and then I'm guessing.
ऐसे तो हम भी खड़े हो जाएंगे, हमारा भी मन है, but तो कुछ तो होना चाहिए ना, मतलब.
I think दोस्ती भी काम आएगी ना finally. If you made a movie for Salman Khan, so then at some point it will benefit you.
Because the previous 2 movies were like, the first one is like a established name like Pradeep Sarkar, right? Even though not in the film industry, but he's respected. The second one is written written and directed by the same person, so there is an authorship there. This one is not written by the director.
This
It's
is written by
five
the
other people.
guy who made the railway, man.
Oh, so it's basically in-house
Yeah.
YRF people.
Yeah. It's YRF is like essentially what are we? It's like a Disney mentality, na? Ki some original stuff, some sequel stuff. So this is the sequel stuff. They're like being to keep some franchise alive. So previous guy was not interested. First guy was not interested. So they were like, okay, let's just find
First guy
some
is
employee.
dead. Pradeep Sarkar is dead.
Oh, my bad. So yeah, they just found someone inside the company. They're like, भाई आप लिख दो.
हाँ ये तो मतलब बहुत old fashioned धर्मा YRF.
Yeah.
People just like तुम assistant 5 बार assistant बना अब तू like a Pixar thing. But worse.
Much worse.
I mean, listen, despite all its flaws, I think that the YRF money, there are worse ways to spend your money than this. So, and we've seen many of those movies, you know. At least, chalo toxic hai ending iska bhi. But overall, even if it is disingenuous, I feel like minor step in the non-toxic direction is good enough. But it's not a good movie.
It's not a good movie, but like just like if you can actually somehow adopt or like follow in the footsteps of Fast and Furious, maybe there's a Fast 5 around your corner, right?
Yeah, but then they'll have to abandon all pretense of we have social responsibility.
I mean, probably not that big a deal, right? It's not like you're doing
but
a
that's
great
the
job.
core of this. No, they're not doing good, but that's the core of this franchise is that औरतों के साथ बुरा हो रहा है और हमें ठीक करना है.
I think they can still do that by stopping a nuclear bomb. I'm telling you, they're literally one Justin Lin away from like reinvigorating this franchise and in the right direction. But they need someone who can actually do that, and I don't know how many people we have in Bollywood to do that.
Yeah, I doubt it. In fact, I'm assuming that the next one will just be like full Islamophobic sort of.
Yeah, if it's
response
going
to
by
Dhurandhar.
like going by what you told me of the trajectory of the franchise, and it's always like responding to the era it lives in, then yes, it will be like a Dhurandhar light thing, sadly. But there is hope that the next one comes so far late, like given they've taken four years between each of them, that maybe they'll adapt from the next cycle of Bollywood and not this cycle.
Yeah, because this cycle is like you have Kerala, like Shivaji Roy is going to save like Hindu girls from Muslim kidnappers or something.
Yeah. So hopefully we just bypass that and make a Mardaani 4 in the era after this, whatever comes after this. I don't know what comes after
Usme
this.
AI होएगा villain.
AI is doing things to girls. Or some Bond villain is doing things to girls through AI.
And then Fatima is doing like type. And like Jafar is like, what do? I am supposed to be punching people.
I am surprised you remember the names of people who are beyond Fatima.
I've watched them all in one day, so I remember Sidhu, Jafar, I know all these people.
You have become like a part of the universe. Like it's the Avengers level stuff is actually working for you.
Yeah, because
for me, I was just like, can you spend at least 3 minutes building the shooter guy and not just calling him shooter? I'm like, ये Hawkeye है तुम्हारा. I understand he's a Hawkeye, but at least like give him 3 minutes of Hawkeye.
Yeah. But I think that they also know, okay, ठीक है, but like end में पूरा slow mo walk होता है.
I'm like, अभी कर दिया team. I'm like, great. I'm like, but I just know 2 people out of this ensemble. You have not given me anything to root for. You can't be like tomorrow. You can't launch a spin-off and be like, अब हम Fatima को follow करेंगे. No. Or maybe that's the aim, right? Like I was thinking briefly beach में. I was like, the aim is like the Mission Impossible 4 में they try to put Jeremy Renner instead of Tom Cruise. They're like, maybe this can be the future if Tom Cruise leaves. And then it just like backfired and no one actually accepted it. So maybe that's what they're trying to do with Fatima.
No, this is a vanity project for Rani Mukerji. She's going to never.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking. Is there any other actress of Rani's age who is still getting her leading role in Bollywood at this point?
Vidya Balan, Kajol.
Kajol? What was the last movie that Kajol did?
Ma. Incidentally, another movie produced by her husband as part of a universe.
Interesting. I had no idea this movie existed until you mentioned it to me 5 seconds ago.
It's part of the Shaitan universe, keep up.
Word Shaitan universe mean nothing to me, Rohan.
Usme Madhavan is playing the Shaitan.
Yeah, still mean nothing to me. I think we need to just like move on. But yeah, I guess it's still a very small cohort of actresses who are
married. Essentially, you need to be married to a big shot producer to sustain.
Fair, okay. So some level
of them
nepotism, essentially. Yeah. Right. I guess that's as good a Bollywood note to end on. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review with this episode, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.